What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we are going to be going over none other than last weekend's Regionals, Ultimate Cups, and basically PPG event. We had a lot of events go on, so I wanted to get all the data for you. Sadly, I couldn't get the deck profiles for the Italian, Ultimate Cup, and the Regional, but I have at least the top 16 to look at. So without further ado, let's dive into the video and talk about it. So first off, let's talk about none other than the overall percentage of winning and stuff like that. First off, we have Metal Gaiumon X Antibody taking up 20 of all these decks. So 16, 20, 32, 64 decks that got top 16 over the weekend. This is what you're looking at a 32% rate, basically, if you round up. But it's 31.3. That is a huge amount, taking up 20 slots of a 60 event. I mean, that is a lot. But at least we have others grinding up. We have Grandis, Gaio, Alpha, D-Reaper, D-Brigade, Bellastar, Rise Greymon X, Ophanimon, Angelwomon X Antibody deck, Bellastar, Yellow-Red Hybrid, Azumaon, Leomon, Imperialdramon, and Wargreymon X. So it's not terrible. We have a good turnout on these decks. I mean, statistically wise, this is pretty solid in diversity. So I'm not going to complain too much, but let's look at the regionals themselves. First off, this was the regional for the Italian Cup. This is basically top 16 here. We have Alphamon, Bellastar, D-Brigade, D-Reaper, Gaiumon, Grand Quagmire, Imperialdramon, Metal Gaiumon X, and Rise Greymon X. And this is the top 8 finish. We had Metal Gaiumon X, Metal Gaiumon, Bellastar, Gaiumon, and Metal Gaiumon X, Metal Gaiumon S, Grand Quagga, and then Alpha in the top 8, which isn't terrible. And the data here is pretty solid. I do want to thank for the Italian side to giving me this little bit of information here. This was pretty solid to find and really useful. Let's take over for the Ultimate Cup they had. These were 2 events in person. Also, I want to mention these did have Sideboard and Mulligan live in this event. So they had the Ultimate Cup and the Regional actually have it by the looks of it, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong about the Regional, but I did not see the decks fully. Looking at the top 16, we have Alphamon, Bellastar, D-Brigade, D-Reaper, Gaio, Grandis, Metal Gaiumon X, Rise Greymon X, and Wargreymon X. Not terrible. We're looking at D-Reaper took first, Rise Greymon X took second, Metal Gaiumon X third, fourth was Metal Gaiumon, D-Reaper, Bellastar, Rise Greymon X, and Grandis Quagga. Not terrible to find this information out, and it looks pretty diverse on their end. I mean, if you take a look, they had 107 combatants and 20 alphas, and only 1 made it in the top 16 and did not make it into top 8. Okay, we'll take those. But outside of that, it's very diverse over there. And let's take a look over there as well. 113 Alphamon, Metal Gaiumon X, and then Wargreymon X. I mean, we have Maste as well, Greatest Quagga, and Gaiumon. Very well diverse in coloring, it seems. So let's go over to our main events here. Let's talk about TACs real quick. TAC, we had Metal Gaiumon X, Alphamon, Gaio, Grandis, Yellow-Red Hybrid, Azumaon, Bellastar, and Leomon. We'll take a look later in this video a little bit where we'll discuss that aspect. And then for the PPG event, they had Metal Gaiumon X, Gaiumon, Grandis, Alpha, D-Reaper, Ophanimon, Angelwomon X, Bellastar, and D-Brigade. D-Brigade taking first in this event. And TAC, Alphamon took first there. So it's looking like we're getting some decent toppings differences. We'll get these random rogue classification topping, which normal card games, you kind of see those variations as well. So let's get further into the deck profile, shall we? So first deck we're going to start with are the TAC events, and then we'll move to PPG. And at a later date, I'll probably do a follow-up video for this weekend when I get the Italian stuff. So let's dive into it. So first off, it is Alphamon, And out of all the stuff you're seeing here, there's nothing really screaming out uniquely different. I mean, the one Grumblemon is like a hit or miss on most people's deck list. Either they want it or not. But we got 4, 8, 10 rookies, you know, all about draw or advantage of some sort. Grumblemon, our blocker / booster in attacks. Dex Duro just becoming blocker and retaliation, giving something like that. Even the rookie is just nasty. Duro Greymon just being Duro Greymon, you know, basically self-protection in a nutshell. Most decks can't even get around that, and that's just kind of what you're going to be expecting for that. And I mean, with the self-protection, and then you just put a Breath of the Gods on it, they can't remove it at all. It's ridiculous. And the extra security checks. Duro Greymon X is just being Duro Greymon X, you know, popping level 4. The memory blockers really do help out in the end game. Oryukin mode, just basically your multi-swinger. This allows you to do crazy shenanigans, lets you restand, get those couple extra swings. And if you keep one in hand and you have a Yuja under it, after you swung with the last one, put another one in, new effect triggers, restand, get another swing in for game. And that's just how that goes sometimes. Alphamon just being Alphamon, being able to de-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon is crazy enough, making them a little weaker, a little less threatening, and then you can just swing into it if you need to. And outside of that, being able to place a source from trash underneath it really does help out. And then we have Alphamon Oryukin. Being able to delete Digimon is really important and very powerful. And if it passes turn, we can deal with the rest of the BS. Breath of the Gods, protection in a nutshell, and that reboot really does help out so they can't swing into it. Kongu prevents level 7s from swinging into you, but also they can't add security back, so that really does help out. Black Memboost being Black Memboost. All in all, just there. And then Coda, your Searcher, your Memory Gainer at 3. Yuja, because of the draw and the added boost in memory, really does help out. And, you know, the drill there. And then Cool Boy being Cool Boy. What else can you say about that? It's just a very powerful card. Searches out everything. And then Metal Garurumon X Antibody took second in tax. Let's see. Anything crazy out of here? They are playing the one draw Gabu. Not bad. Searcher Gabu for more advantage. X Antibody, Searcher, and basically, you know, Garurumon or Omnimon piece Searcher. This one is just a Garurumon and an Omnimon. Gabumon is just Gabumon. Garurumon is if this Digimon has Gabumon in its G-Evolution, gain 1 memory. Garurumon X, just be able to Digivolve on top and go. Making it so that this could be alive earlier, or it gives us also the self-protection. Really useful for this deck in general. And the draw is what keeps this deck really in the game, long game. Garurumon X just being Garurumon X, being able to Digivolve on top of this Garurumon, being able to unsuspend it and deal the extra security check really does help out. Garurumon Sagittarius mode, basically your good friend and only good friend of Garurumon. Basically, if you don't have Metal Garurumon, you can actually Digivolve on top of this, get an extra security swing, Digivolve into Garurumon, get an extra security swing, and hopefully within those couple draws with the Garurumon underneath, you can get a couple added bonuses. So that's very important. Metal Garurumon X, just that blocker and unsuspend. Sometimes that just gets you for lethal for game, and that's really nasty. Metal Garurumon basically extends your plays. Really useful. Blitz Omni for game. Ice Wall shuts down basically your opponent's next turn usually, and that can get you to winning situations. Blue Memboost, just being Blue Memboost. Hammer Spark, just extend your play. Most people don't expect it. If they're not ready, you'll just be able to go off from there. X Antibody is just straight up your extender combo. And then Davis is your Searcher. And then you have Cool Boy. Very powerful all-around stuff. Then we got our Bellastar. Not very often do we see Bellastar climbing this high, but it's really awesome to see it took 5th place. And basically what you're doing is Bellastar lets you play 7 cost options, and letting you do so lets you control the board state how you want. You have ways of recycling the Bellastars if they get popped too early. You can mill faster with, you know, the Gaiumon X now. And with Doberman, you can get pieces back and mill. And it just speeds up the game so quickly. And most people aren't teching in Avenge Kid at the moment. So this deck kind of is running a little rampant more than it should. But just kidding. It's only been topping here and there. The deck is consistent, but again, you need to have a good security lineup to really push for game here. Jack Raid's in here to basically extend the plays and get you to game-winning status. Holland Crusher is just basically, if they swing in with, let's say, X Antibody of anything, strip all the sources, they can't win anymore. And that's really important because now that means you can't restand, you can't do all this XYZ shenanigans that you were expecting. So it's really good to see that. The only thing that stays is the X Antibody option, so it's not terrible. Kyoshiru is just basically that draw, and that just comes off with the Bellstar. And outside of that, nothing too crazy. Analog Youth, just milling more, and then blow-up options, Nailbone to get your Biomons, and Gaiumon promotes. You can loop this and just constantly just spam them out, depending on how much memory you have, and 7-cost options are in your trash. So, and with Kakaitis Breath, it gets rid of threats that you normally couldn't get rid of. So, not terrible at all. Next, Leomon surprised me a little bit. This is a very interesting list. Outside of the norm stuff here, it's basically blue in a nutshell, but the ability to search out your tamers. This has an on-deletion gain of memory, so you can get it back to your turn faster. So mostly everything is trying to kill something on the board and has the effect of removing, and it's mandatory. So if you set it up right, you could get it back to your turn instantly because you just punish them for doing that. And that's because their mandatory skills are forcing them to blow up something. So if you set it up right, boom, move it back to your turn and instantly go from there and then get rid of the threat like it was nothing. Kumomon's just being Kumamon. Hybrid game status. Korikagumon. If you can get all the sources removed, you can stun something for a turn on top of your Kumamon, and that's really what you're going to try to do there. Leomon's just Leomon here. Gains blocker and gain 2 memory and draw. On deletion, really powerful. Leomon X Antibody. So Digivolve's on top of your Leomon for 0. When this Digimon would be deleted in battle, you may play 1 Leomon from this Digimon's Digievolution cards without paying its memory cost. Really powerful, actually. Being able to set up another Leomon right after your Leomon X dies. A 1-for-1 trade that's really nasty. Beowulfmon, just be able to cycle back your hybrids, really does help out. Chimeramon, so hybrid game status. Vmon for draw here. This shuts down any of the shenanigans of options. This Jellymon basically helps you keep your turn going. You can play a Tamer and instantly draw a card, and then when an effect adds a card to your hand, return one of your opponent's level 3. So if they have their betas out or anything like that, you can get rid of them, get them off the board, less lethal to you. Hammer Spark, Hammer Spark. Then Mega Death, suspend, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to its owner's hand. Really powerful. Davis is Davis. Do we have to really talk about it? He's going to plus you in multiple ways, hopefully by 2, if you see a Leomon X and a Leomon, any other blue card. Sword Joe, basically, if your opponent has no sources under them, if they had to play a rookie and they literally had to search and pass turn, Sword Joe triggers, really extending your plays that way. Jerry, you may play 1 Leomon from your hand without paying its mem cost. Opponent's turn, when an opponent's Digimon attack, you may suspend this Tamer, draw a card. So basically, we're just going to be, drawing cards. And then Davis and Ken is just straight up Davis and Ken. Nothing too crazy out of that. So, not terrible at all. Next, we're going to talk about red-yellow hybrid. This deck seems to be enjoying its resurgence, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Gaiumon, both will draw you cards, constantly keeping you in the game. Fireball draws you a card, or pop something. Draws you 2 cards, or pop something. Not bad. Atomic Inferno, if they hit this in security, basically you're just hybrided swing for game. Most times, if they will survive, it's not bad. That extra security does help out. Tactical Retreat to recycle your Jet Sylphie back on top of deck, so you'll grab it with Zoe or TK. Doing all that fun shenanigans, getting you more recovery. Gaia Force, if they hit this, kills most things. Death X coming down is just real punishment. Sunrise Buster makes people have bad days. This card can remove boss Digimons very easily and without any worry. I mean, all you need is 4 Tamers on board, and since you are playing heavy Tamers, you're going to see it. And then Holy Flame is Holy Flame minusing 1 security to all your opponent's Digimon if they hit this in security. Or, if you use this from hand, it's -3 security checks. It really does help out. And we already know what the line does for Jet Sylphie. It's not even funny. Death X, basically, if they go wide, you're killing them for it. So punishment is fun. But outside of that, nothing too crazy here. When Digivolving deletes one of your opponent's 3000 DP or less. I mean, not bad, gets rid of rookies and stuff like that. But outside of that, we're expecting, you know, Tai and Kari basically gaining us extra memory. Zoe grabbing our pieces that we need. TK Kari, more memory. TK just basically grabs a piece we need. It's in security. And then TK just making our security more beefier than when they swing in with those red decks. And then we do have one final deck intact that I want to talk about, and that is Azumaon. Azumaon was really interesting to see this come up. We got like Devi Marimons, but we have Impmon lines with Gaze here just to shut down any memory game shenanigans. Really useful. Impmon is just Impmon. We got Leomon just for that tamer hybrid game status with 4 Ayamako, by the way. Dobermon helps mill, gets our pieces going further. Wizardmon, when this card is trashed from your deck, gain a memory. You may reveal 1 purple card from your hand, place it on the top of your deck when attacking, so that you can set up, get your blast mode right on top, and then mill it, instantly digivolving into blast mode. Really useful. Black War Greymon is to be able to restand, and that's really powerful because let's say you mill this Azumaon here, gets you a rookie on board. Now you can swing in after milling a couple pieces and then restand because now you hit this and now you get a free rookie. Now you pop that rookie, restand, swing, boom. Now your opponent has taken multiple damage hits this turn. So not a bad trade-off. Lucemon Chaos Mode. The only thing I don't like about having this in the deck is that if you don't have enough to play him for a cheap cost, it's just, I think you should be playing at least 1 Creepymon, so if they go to 2, at least you can get a Lucemon Chaos Mode, and then pop something, force board state to be weird, and stuff like that. Well, that's where I think that would be really just useful, get 1 Creepymon out. Skull Satamon is trash the top 2 cards of your deck, return 1 Demon Lord with his traits to your hand. Basically, you're just going after your Azumaon. This basically digivolves on top of your Impmons as long as you're at 10. And that's really awesome. Azumaon here, just basically the more we have in trash, the more levels, higher levels we can pop. Blast mode basically deletes all your opponents with the highest level. Basically clears out threats. Death X is just such a mandatory card. Calling from Darkness, cycling your pieces back. Miss Memory Boost, you know, trash top 2 cards of your deck, draw, delay, you know, the fun stuff. Death Stingers basically pops higher things and threats. But all in all, great run. Congratulations. Let's talk about D-Brigade. D-Brigade definitely taking first place in the PPG event was really exciting to see. We got Pagumons for the draws, Tsunomon basically, as long as you have another deep Commandramon or similar, we're going to be seeing this just go off from there. Commandramon swings in, 2-drop. This Commandramon cycles your Commandramon back. This is your blocker Commandramon. This is Korimon, so if they hit this insecurity, being able to digivolve their big boss Digimon might sometimes save you in game, because that is very important. So that's very awesome to see. And that's about it. Hergurumon basically drawing, being able to trash our Commandramons, helps speed up our graveyard. Commandramon being able to 5000 DP it. Grumblemon for game, hybrid game status. Darkdramon just basically return up to 5 of your D-Brigades, and then you get to keep swinging in. Death X is just punishment in a half. Ultimate Flare forces, if they hit this insecurity, they're de-digivolving their big boss Digimon. Really does come in handy and very useful. Iron Fist Onslaught, delete all your opponent's Digimon with a high play cost. Pride Memory Boost, we already know what's happening with this. Kongu, until the end of your opponent's next turn, your opponent can't. Opponent's Digimon without play cost 7 or less cannot attack players and cannot be added to security stack. No healing for you. And then Izzy's Izzy. We're definitely not having to worry about it being not a 3 cost. Kazu's just Kazu. This helps us mill our support into the graveyard a little bit faster, helps us cycle in, speeds us up, and the extra memory gain is not terrible at all. Next, let's talk about it. Gaiumon taking second place in this event. This was another in-person one, by the way. Outside of the norm here, we know what Gaiumon does. He's basically, when the Digimon has a black Digievolution card, de-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. If the Digimon has a red Digievolution, blitz it. And then security attack, 1, and reboot. Gets enough pressure on its own. Basically, our Tamer Popper, War Greymon X Antibody is letting us have security check 1. And then if the Digimon has Metal Greymon or X Antibody's Digievolution, the Digimon gets plus 3000 DP until the end of turn. So what we're hoping is with Metal Greymon, we can de-Digivolve threats, but we can also rearrange things in our own favor, which is huge for us. We like that. Outside of that, for Cool Boy, no ties, nothing like that. Cool Boy is just the bread and butter because what I'm guessing the game plan strategy is, you Digivolve, hopefully you have Cool Boy, you're on a Greymon, you go to Greymon X Antibody, hopefully you're at 3, then go from there. Not a bad strategy, especially since this is like a mid-range deck. You're going to be controlling the board in a way that you want to go. And I love the Kongu and Gaia Force combination. Nothing outside of the norm here. You're going to have, you know, extenders and plays, your drawers, your everything. Blitz for game, Kongu, just all the good stuff in Black War Greymon. Then we have Grand Quagmire taking 7th place in this, the highest over the weekend that I can get information on. But nothing too crazy. I love the one of Kokuamon, being able to have this extended, so you're really useful here. I mean, Weedmon as well, you know, just searchers galore. We're hoping to hit stuff. Terriermon slows down game state. Argomon for a 2-drop. Leomon, if we Digiburst it out, we can get some extensions of plays there. Metal Kabuteri, just to Digivolve on top of your Kabuterimon or Weedmon to extend plays. Stingmon, if they hit this in security, it's really nasty, especially because at the end of the battle, play this without paying its memory cost, and then suspend their opponent's Digimon. This works with any Digimon that doesn't have an end of battle skill, because it'll restand after everything, and even you spending it doesn't negate that. Then we have a Coolmon. So when this Digimon declares an attack, Digimon battle and survives, gain 1 memory. Not terrible. A Coolmon X, basically, we're going to be reducing the cost by 1. So when this Digimon would Digivolve into a Digimon with Insectoids in its traits, reduce the Digievolution by 1, making it so our Grand Quagmon's a little bit cheaper. And then when Digivolving, if you have a Coolmon or X Antibody's Digievolution card, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Then if this is attacking, you may switch the attacks over. But we also have this one, so when this Digimon would Digivolve into an Insectoid trait, all your opponent's Digimon gets, when this Digimon is suspended, lose 1 memory until the end of your opponent's next turn. So, but also gives Piercing, which does help out because that's what we're going to do to clear out, get rid of threats by suspending them with the X Antibody effect. And then we'll go in with Grand Quagmire, just Digiburst everything out but the Piercer. And then, boom, we're going to threaten them for lethal. And then Grand Quagmire, just Grand Quagmire. Mimi's Mimi. And then Green Memory Boost is Green Memory Boost. Then we do have a, you know, D-Reaper deck taking in the tops. We've seen this list time and time again, so I'm not going to really dive too deeply into it. We already know what all these cards do. This is just basically cookie cutter from the first event that it got first in. Now we should talk about the Ophanimon Fall Down Mode deck. So they're using Viximon for your drawing when you use an option, which really is powerful at the end of the day. I mean, at the end of the day, being able to get more cards in your hand helps stabilize you more and go from there. Salamon, if it dies, you gain a recovery 1. Hard playing this Patamon, if you're at 1, gains you an extra memory security. And then Gaiumon's basically your searcher here. You're going to be searching for top pieces. I love the Neo Devi, so when an opponent plays a Tamer, gain 3 memory. So that makes their Cool Boys now cost them 5 just to hard play. Especially if the earlier you get Neo Devi out, the better you are. And that really applies a lot of damage and pressure to your opponent. And then opponent turns, when an opponent's Tamer becomes suspended, gain 1 memory. Especially if you Digivolve on top of this now. If you have like Fall Down Mode, they're not going to be removing Fall Down Mode anytime soon. And then Neo Devi's just straight up looking at you going like, suspend that Cool Boy. You ain't gaining anything. And the more you have out, the more threatening it becomes. And it can be Digivolved for 1 on top of our Gaiumon because he is classified a Fallen Angel. And then Magna Angemon Recovery +1. I mean, yeah, that's about it. And plus that 1000 DP for every 3 cards is really potent at times. Leomon fall down mode, basically recovery. If we have a purple in our sources with the yellow, we're going to be at least popping a level 4, and then we get a recovery 1, and then on deletion be able to play a level 4 again. Death X is just a pain in the rear sometimes, especially if they have a lot of tamers and go wide. Calling from Darkness, delete and return up a purple Digimon, usually probably to cycle back Death X. Flame, Hell Scythe, being able to minus the DP and then play, let's say, a Magna Angemon or Gaiumon or Sala or Pata if we need it. Really useful. Holy Wave, if they hit this, you're recovering 1. Not a bad trade-off. Reinforced Mem Boost, Delay, you know the drill here. Chaos Degradation, always a great card. Love this card. Basically, gets rid of any threat in game right now. It's the only hard removal we have that doesn't get negated by... The only card that gets negated is Kongu. But that's fine. Matt Ishida, return one of your opponent's Digimon or purple options to the trash to your hand. Basically, cycling back combo pieces is what we want. Mimi, to reduce our cost on our, high options, so these can become like 2 costs if you have all 4 Mimis out. Kari's just Kari. When a card is removed from your security stack, you may suspend this tamer, gain 1 memory. And then Kari itself, basically our memory gainer as well, but anytime we recover, we can reduce the cost basically of, let's say, Patamon goes down to a 3 cost. Not terrible trade-off. And then final deck we'll talk about is the Angels deck. So what's really powerful about this deck is that we use Mako to basically reduce our hard plays down a lot cheaper. Kari is just Kari. We know what she's going to do here. Analog Youth is always milling the top and just helping us get to our pieces faster. Chaos Degradation removes big threats. Flame Hell Scythe removes smaller threats. Calling from Darkness, and by the way, this gets us stuff on board. Calling from Darkness, basically returning up to 2 purple Digimon really does help out, especially when you need a Death X returning after they've blown it up. So it's just really useful that way. Avenge Kidmon is just Avenge Kidmon. A Funimon fall down mode, that recovery +1 does help out in times. Mastamon allows this combo with Black Gato, basically to swing for lethal for game, and that's just one way of doing it. And then we got Angelwomon, when you have 3 or fewer security cards, recovery 1. Angelwomon, basically minusing the security checks, really does help out. Angelwomon X Antibody, basically minusing security checks off your opponent's Digimon, but also recovering memory really does help out. And then Gaiumon's just Gaiumon. We love it. Black Gaiumon just for the rush. Psychmon basically shuts down any other Death X player or anybody else wanting to hard play off of their D-Reapers. Gaze just shuts down any memory game, so that if they're trying to do Hammer Spark, Blue Mem Boost, anything like that, you punish them for it. And then Demimera just for triggering draw and then trash 1 card. So all in all, great decks, all great weekend stuff. And like I said, if I can get stuff for the Italian stuff, I will let you know. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next video. Peace.